And we don't all need to know what's happening in the other circles. So
Mm.
this is, I think, something that sometimes people they're confused about when they think about like communal decision making. They start thinking that everyone should be involved in everything, but like this is ludicrous and it really wastes a lot of time.
Yeah, so welcome to this Bellbreaker channel where we explore the topics of natural law, objective morality, self-determination, and consciousness. And usually I'm alone on the image, but you know me, I'm a drop-dead serious fellow. And today we're going to have a very special guest who is totally gonna spoil you with a smile. Welcome, Henna Maria from Codin Palermo.
Thank you, Jürgen. Great to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here, since I've been following your work for a while. And I'm not doing many interviews. It's only the sixth in less than 2 years. Um, so um, I'm looking forward to what we are talking about today. You're going to present what you're currently doing with your new tribe or the tribe you've been joining or co-founding.
Yes.
Before we go into that, let's talk a bit about your general field of work, what you've been doing for and for how long you're active already.
Sure. Yeah. So, hi everyone. Thank you for
Yeah.
inviting me here, Jürgen. I always love these conversations, and I'm really interested to also know about your background. You mentioned when you invited me that you've been involved with this community,
Yeah.
Auroville in India. So I
Yeah.
find that super interesting. So maybe we can share a little bit exchange our ideas and experiences of, being involved with community or even like a parallel society in the making. So, yeah, we'll be talking about that. In a bit, but in terms of my background, well, I've been an activist for 19 years now, and so that kind of just became my second nature. So very early on, when I came into adulthood, I realized that this society is quite, I would use the word sick place, sick society, and there are many things that are wrong and many things that didn't make sense to me ever since I was actually a child and a teenager. So I've been involved in many different kinds of organizations. The biggest one, back in the day, I was involved with the Finnish chapter of Amnesty International. And it was actually when this latest worldwide crisis of the COVID pandemic started in 2020. That was like the final nail in the coffin for me in terms of seeing how these giant human rights organizations operate. Because I actually contacted them all, from Amnesty International to Human Rights Watch, and asking like, what are you doing? That this is the most horrendous human rights like violation systemically across our planet. Like what is going on? And not a word, no answer. And I really realized that they're not interested to actually speak out when it comes to government, uh, interfering with natural law and natural rights. So
Yeah. It almost looks like they're all in bed together. I mean,
yeah,
conspiracy. Anyway.
yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like there's a line that they will not cross.
Yeah.
And so then I started a lot of my own projects and campaigns and organizations because I realized that I can't rely on any of these other guys. And also what I realized is that so I started from human rights, then I went into animal rights, and then into natural law and medical freedom and bodily autonomy and all these different things, that started kind of coming to my radar about all the different ways that human rights are being violated and life in general, like the sacredness of life is being violated. So I started Dawn of Peace in 2019, And the idea of our collective is to really gather spiritually aligned activists together. Because I
Mm.
saw a lot of these movements are lacking that spiritual foundation or understanding of natural law and morality, and how all these things are actually stemming from that same foundation. Like all the issues of our world, they come from a lack of understanding of right and wrong, morality, natural law,
Absolutely, and this is where the story of Orville could join, but it's less enjoyable than what you will have to tell us today. But really, there is a foundation of natural law even in the philosophy of Orville, and it's so hard to transmit that idea because,
Hmm.
I mean, how can you tell right from wrong? Who are you to tell right from wrong, you know?
Hmm.
And so everything is a bit floaty and not, there is no acceptance of this objective reality and this objective morality, which could help us to um, fasten or um, yeah, help us prosper. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's the thing, and it's not so easy to communicate. And this is where I find it very important that you yourself also are doing this great work of talking about natural law and really bringing it back into people's awareness, because it seems that as a society and as a culture, we've lost this and we're living in this post-truth world where people think that there is no such a thing as truth even, and that everything is just opinions and subjective, experiences.
Yes.
And yeah, so Dawn of Peace was born from that dream of restoring alignment into activism, where it's like if you stand for nonviolence, then you must also extend that to the animal kin.
Mm,
And you also must then extend it to the unborn human babies. And then you must also extend it to the way we communicate with each other. Like, what is violence actually? Looking
mm,
at it from all different levels. And then how do we counter that? Well, we have to start living by peace and teaching and educating people about truly the peaceful choices and actions, we can all take. So
yeah.
that started in 2019, November. And then, yeah, 2020 came and it really seemed like many of the things that I had listed in our causes were under threat, like at the same
Mm.
time. So that was really my call to action on a next level. And then I've started other initiatives as well. One was collaboration between activists and police,
Let me
actually.
jump
And
in there. Did you notice that former m- um, friends who had joined you um, was were jumping off board the moment the pressure came? Like, how many people did forget about their principles? You know?
from our group, the Dawn of Peace, everyone was
Yes.
aligned. They were like fully on
Yeah.
board already,
Yeah.
you know.
I had a
So,
totally opposite experience over there,
okay.
and everything was forgotten that very moment.
Mm,
And yeah, it really shocked me how fast it all broke apart, and that
okay.
founding principles were not present. Also in other groups which were more philosophically oriented, which were not so much about community or spirituality, but simply um, let's say, rational or reasonable philosophy. They
Mhm.
forgot the philosophy totally. And that was really a shocking moment for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I did see it in my kind of field of work that I do. So one part is the activism, but my first love and my calling is the healing arts.
mm,
So I did see that across the board in my colleagues and my like apprentice friends from back in the day when we were studying, that a lot of them did actually like put their arm out and take the jab. And yoga teachers who preach about breath, wearing masks. And yes, I did see that. But in terms of the activist group that I put
mm,
together in 2019, yeah, there the people were standing strong. So I
yes.
think because also we had it listed as that we don't support mandatory vaccination, so that was already there. So that was the right kind of people that
Okay,
came
so
on board.
you had already the good contract with
Yeah, yeah.
each other before it all started. Okay, um, so you just came back from traveling. Any special activities that you or goals that you achieved there?
Wow. Yes, actually, what me and my husband were doing is we were going to these ancient temples, ancient sites where the Inca civilization and pre-Inca civilization had built these temples, and a lot of them were around living water. And so we were in the Sacred Valley in the Andes of Peru, and we went like almost every day. We would have a place where we would go and visit some kind of ancient site, um, archaeological site, and really feeling that actually these places still hold a lot of wisdom and a lot of spiritual strength, I would say. And that although they appear to be ruins, like physically there's no humans living there anymore, but I feel that they're still spiritually active.
Yeah,
So we would go there and we would pray and we would make offerings and truly felt that that civilization that was there that honored nature so much that they built temples always around rivers, that there's something there that they truly understood actually about natural law and about how to have proper relationship with the living creation.
yeah,
So that really felt like something was also being transmitted to us, just sitting there in those beautiful sites and praying. And of course, we were also smoking the sacred tobacco, which is a way to pray and give offers in that culture. And so that was very special, and it felt like something was definitely imbued into me through that. Yeah.
wow. Um, all right, let's um, look at what you're currently doing. I guess you're doing quite a lot of things. Not sure, but I can imagine that there's more than one thing going on in your life. But
Yes.
today, today we would like to look into the tribe that you're part of and how that tribe works. The tribe is called Cotin Paluhemo, and um, that's a difficult name for a Central European person to get even the sound of what is this? What is Cotin Paluhemo? What does it mean, and what does it mean to you?
Yes. You actually do a good job pronouncing the name.
Thank you.
Kotiinpaluuheimo is how we say it in Finnish, and it means
Paluhemo.
homecoming tribe. Heimo is tribe, and then kotiinpaluu is
Ah,
homecoming or
yeah,
returning home.
yeah.
And this name is actually coming from one of our founders. Maybe I show you just this picture. Here are our founders. So the four of us put this together, and Samuli Perälä, who's the guy there on the left, I would say he's like the father of the whole project. So
Mhm,
all four of us were very public activists during this medical crisis, this
mm,
uh, well, medical apartheid of COVID, and we were all criticizing out loud, what is happening, and starting different kind of campaigns and projects. And then Samuli, who's also been in the medical freedom movement already for over a decade before this whole thing happened, he felt like we need to do something, and we need to start creating like the good way that we could all see that this technocracy is coming and this digitalization of all aspects of our lives, and that instead of just fighting against it and like trying to say no, we have to also start thinking about what are we saying yes to and what can we build together. So then Samuli was the one who contacted me, and then also Sami and Antti, and he said, why don't the four of us come together? That people trust us, they know the work that we're doing, and we invite people to come together with us, and we start like a private membership association and start building a parallel society.
mhm.
And yeah, we did this together.
So you all have a sort of a, let's say, a standing or popularity is the wrong word, but people knew
Yes, we
about
were in the
your
public
work. So
eye. Yes, definitely.
so you could build upon that trust that's being given to you from them.
Exactly. Yeah, we
Yeah.
could, because time and time again, we had taken a stand for freedom and for human rights, even if it was like detrimental to our own work or reputation. And like Antti Launonen here, he actually has been like very successful actor in a Finnish theater in
Mhm.
Oulu, and he let go of his career during the pandemic because he would not. He had said publicly that if the vaccine passport is coming as a requirement to the theaters, that's the only way that people can then come see us on stage, then I will quit. And then
Mm.
when that happened, he actually did it. Like he actually quit, and
Yeah,
he threw away
very,
his
very
like
few do
very
that. Yeah.
successful career in the theater. So of course, a lot of people respect that because he truly showed morality, and the
Yeah.
same is true with Sami and Samuli. They all spoke up and took all the criticism, all the hatred, all that. They didn't care. They just kept going, and they were being all of us were being targeted by the media as well. And yeah, we kept going, and we really, thanks to that, we gained a lot of trust and respect, I would say,
Mm.
from like-minded people. So when we said, hey, let's all get together and start this tribe and start a natural society together, then people said, okay, I'm with you. And then yeah, now we started in 2023. February was when the four of us came together, and we made the documents and officially set up this private membership association. And then by July 2023, we had created like a membership website where people could join. And then through that virtual platform, we could start building an actual like living community. And yeah, now we're 960 members.
So that's not just a network state, as they call it, right? It's more than that.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You already used the term parallel society. Is that how you understand yourself as a group?
Well, we use the word tribe because that really feels that it's something that we are wanting to resurrect or revive. That all of our lands and regions on Earth, we had these tribes. So what is a tribe? It's like the extended family. You have your family unit, you have your relatives, and then you have the tribe. Like it's a cultural identity also, and it's defined by, shared values and a sense of familiarity and intimacy also. So there's like a sense of love and bonding and affinity that somehow we all share the same set of values, and we see each other as sisters and brothers. We truly see that this is like a soul family coming together, and that we are also through our group we are wanting to keep alive a spark of what it means to be Finnish, what it means to belong to the tribe of the Finns, which is
Mm.
an ancient tribe of thousands of years, and our language is actually ancient also. So it's more than just this group of people coming together. We're thinking in terms of 7 generations forward, and what can we do to protect that which we still know. We are still that generation that knows what it means to be Finnish, what is Finnish culture, what is the natural way of living. But the next generation, like the younger generation after us, they're already losing it.
Mm.
They're already being born with a smartphone in their hands. So it's like a crucial generation that we are, that we're able to be the bridge between these two worlds. And our mission really is to revive that ancient Finnish way of being, and that like I would say original human being, which is universal, which
Mm.
is a human being that lives in harmony with their sisters and brothers and with the rest of the creation.
So it's more than just a community. It
Yes,
could have been another choice of words.
exactly.
And it's about building or preserving a culture, or maybe even building it. What would
Yes,
you say?
exactly. And
Yeah.
this, do you see this logo now that I have on the
Yes.
screen? Yes. So
Yes.
this is what we decided to use as the emblem, as the symbol for our tribe. And it's a painting, and the story behind this is quite extraordinary. So it's actually painted by my cousin Emma Bairas, she's a fine artist, and she has a lot of visions coming connected to the animal kingdom, especially wolves and large felines. And before Samuli started this foundation with us, or this PMA with us, he had gone to her art exhibition and he had seen this painting, and he just felt like, I need to have this, and that this will be the logo for this natural society that he was already dreaming about. And he bought this painting, and then he asked, what's the name of the painting? After he'd already bought it and he'd already decided that this will be the logo. And then Emma said the name of the painting is At Home, Kotona,
Mhm.
which
Wow.
was amazing because the name was
Absolutely.
Homecoming Tribe. And so
Yes.
here the wolf is already at home, and what my cousin has shared about it is that when she was creating this, that this was something she wanted to express about what it feels to be like fully in your strength and in your element. And this is a white female wolf. And
Mm.
she's there in the sunrise, like in her kingdom, like feeling strong and beautiful. And this is really something that we also want to do with our tribe, is to revive the sacred feminine aspect of humanity, which is all about care and nurture and family. Of course, wolves are pack animals.
Mm.
And the way that they even express leadership is something truly remarkable. If you've ever seen a photo of how a wolf pack is actually moving, the way they have their hierarchies of where each wolf in the pack is, as the leader is always the last one. He's the one who makes sure that everyone is everyone's included and everyone is
Mm.
safe.
Mm.
And the young and strong ones are at the front, and then the women and the children are at the center. And so whenever they're moving their pack around, they have this like remarkably, I would say, moral and like beautiful way that they organize themselves.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful synchronicity and yeah, really a wonderful image.
Yes. So
Better
we've
than the
taken
one I
this on. Yeah.
it's better anyway than the one I've got in on my mind. Hey, hey there. Uh, when I think of Finland, apart from the metal bands, um,
There's a lot of those here.
um, which get lost during photo sessions in the woods. Yeah, I think of the woods and the lakes, but I guess that's like the water you are swimming in as a fish. In Finland, I guess the forests are like the water. What was like the water is to a fish.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So these are founding members, or what do we see here?
Yeah, this is some of our group, we have the 960 people, but we often gather and
Wonderful.
just
Yeah.
go to events, and let's say if there's a festival in Finland, then we will organize that those of us who belong to the tribe will meet at a certain place at a certain time, and we're always looking to like be together as much as possible because we all have these values together. Of course, what we'll get into. But it's so easy when you know that this individual shares the same worldview, like the same fundamental values of life. It's like you instantly can trust and you can instantly bond and instantly become friends. So
Mm.
this is from a festival in Finland from last summer called the Natural High Healing Festival. And this is just like the group of us that were present, happened to be there together at the same time. And we took a group picture.
Uh, you must feel like you're on a long-lasting honeymoon.
Yeah, it feels like that, honestly. Like I never knew what belonging feels like until I met this group of people. I've always used to be in like the strangeling, like the psychedelic sheep of the family, I would say. Not the black sheep because I'm nothing above black. I have all the colors always. So I say like psychedelic or rainbow colored sheep. But
Yeah.
anyway, the strangeling, and then suddenly you're surrounded by other people who are just as strange just as kind of driven in life to walk their own unique path. And so it feels great to be surrounded by people like that. And yeah, so this is our mission that we wrote together. What is our cause? Is to
Mm,
build a vibrant, wise, self-sufficient countrywide tribe with reverence for all life. That's important for us. So not just
yeah,
about, how is our humanity, but how is our animal kin? How are the lakes, the rivers, the
mm,
forests, the land? So this is something we're bringing back is the indigenous way where we recognize that all of nature is actually alive and sacred.
yeah,
So we have it in our mission statement. And also to ignite the ancient and timeless Finnish culture, to establish the foundations for a natural parallel society, and to revive the original sacred way of life.
mm,
So this is what unites all of us. We all are on the same mission in this life.
yeah. Something must be wrong. I feel so good suddenly. I mean, you if you walk alone through this current society, it feels like, well, okay, personally, I got used to it, but when you have encounters with people like you, then who, whom to you don't have to explain everything and every little thing about natural law. It
Exactly.
it feels, yeah, wonderful, and that makes it a bit strange in our times.
Yeah.
Um, so sociocracy, right? That's the way you organize.
Yeah, so this is something that we are using as much as we can in our decision-making processes and in the way that we organize ourselves. And is this something that's familiar to you, Jürgen, like sociocracy as a term?
I came across the idea. Um, I never saw it fully implemented, but please explain to our viewers
Yes.
what it basically is and how you, I guess you adapted it from the
Yes.
original, I think it was a Dutch idea,
Mhm.
to how you use it.
Yes. So I think that sociocracy is probably the best modern term to describe indigenous way to organize communities and tribes. And so I actually don't think it is new. I think this is one of those things that it's a new term to describe
Yes.
something ancient. So the way that we are using it is, as you're guessing, in a adapted way, because when you have almost 1,000 members, sociocracy isn't something you can put into implementation because it's all about small circles. So we use it as much as we can whenever it's possible to organize ourselves into smaller circles. But there
Mm,
are certain situations like when we have to vote as a whole tribe, then we are using more a democratic principle. But
mm,
when it comes to our working groups, when it comes to the way that the board of our PMA is functioning, we use sociocracy. And so basically, this is a way that decisions are made so that there is as little hierarchy as possible, and people are on a like a plain level playing field where it's grassroots based. It's not top down, but it's like bottom up way
mm.
of organizing ourselves, and it's all based on basically different kinds of positions of responsibility.
Yeah.
And whoever is in the role of taking the one project or group to be their coordinator. They are the one who are wearing the hat in that circle. But the idea is that that circle is ever changing, and also the whoever is carrying the responsibility of being the leader or the coordinator of that particular cell or circle, that can change as well. So that's what we're doing.
Mm,
Basically, just to lay it out a bit better, we've divided ourselves into 6 different regions. Here you see the
mm,
map, the Lapland, Northern Finland, West, East, South, and Center Finland. And each of these regions have a representative who the people of our private membership association have voted to be that guy. So basically, someone has stepped up to be the candidate to be the regional coordinator or the
Mhm.
representative of that region. Their work then is to be the one who organizes activities there, who is just generally like the contact person whenever people have questions regarding our PMA or whatever projects we're creating. So they are like the contact representative, yeah, uh, kind of the one who's responsible for that region. And alongside them, normally in sociocracy, when you have a circle, you have two people who are the ones who are kind of wearing the hat.
Yeah.
And their job is to be relaying information from that circle outward and also bringing information in. So each of our regions have two representatives. One is the regional representative, and the other one, which is more, let's say, holding the position of the masculine energy. So they are more about the structure, about
Mm.
the kind of sociocratic implementation of our PMAs,
Yeah.
whatever work is coming. So they are more like the masculine representative. And then we have the feminine. So it doesn't matter man or woman, we're just talking about qualities. And the more
Yes.
like the sacred feminine element of it is we have a representative for the internal atmosphere. So their work is more to make sure that the well-being of that region is good, that people have ways to resolve their conflicts because we have a conflict resolution protocol also. So whenever there's issues, we have a way that people can solve and negotiate and mediate. So the one who's the like internal atmosphere representative, their job is to be the one who kind of takes on board if there's any potential conflicts or issues where people need help to resolve, then they are the ones that the people would contact then. So there's kind of the more structural bureaucratic representative, and then there's the more humane wellness representative. And
Mm.
these two, they work together. And so each region has this. And
Uh,
then these
Perhaps
regions are
important to say
all,
they're not what we would understand as leaders in the sense of they're deciding. They're more like, well, representatives that
yes,
carry the message.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
And each of these regions then come together in the meeting of the board. So the PMA has a board and they have each regional representative is present there.
Mhm.
And then there's also four other members that can be chosen to be part of the board, just like regular members of the PMA. And they are together 10 people, and their job is to make sure that the information cross country is being relayed, and that whenever we are needing to make some kind of decision, then we have the ear and we have the interests of each region present in every
Mm.
meeting. So the
Yeah.
idea is like it's like the central hub, the central circle. So yeah, so one of the principles of sociocracy is this, that their people are as well represented as possible, and that this position of the coordinator or the representative is a changing position. And if it doesn't work, we can vote immediately another person to take that job.
We don't
So
have to
it's
wait
not
4
like a
years.
4 year, stint that you have to sit through.
Yeah. So when does the voting come into play? Usually, well, how I sociocracy understand, or let's say one way to do it is, or to practice it, is to focus on the consensus. So having people agree on something, or at least not disagree so much that they would say, uh, no, I don't want this at any cost, under any circumstances.
Yes.
So we want people to voice their concerns and to argue about what they see is a problem or are different ways of going forward. And we cannot proceed until these concerns are dealt with so that the person can say yes to the idea yes, we're going forward, or at least I no longer have concerns about how you go forward. It's not my cup of tea, but okay, just do it.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
like good enough to try. That's
Good
one of
enough to
the
try,
principles of
safe enough.
sociocracy.
What was it? There was a
Yeah,
short,
there's a little motto, something like
yeah,
safe enough to proceed or something like this.
yeah, safe enough to
Yeah.
proceed, something like that.
Yes.
Good enough to try.
Yeah. So this is
Um,
what we do when we have our board meeting, for instance, and we have the central communication happening between all the different regions and all the different
mhm,
like representatives. Then whenever we have to decide something that is concerning each region and the entire country, our entire tribe, then we have to vote. So there can be votes every month because we have a board meeting once a month and there's always something that is coming up and we have to decide like, okay, how do we do this? Whether it's a location of funds or whether it is some kind of new procedure that we're putting together, like, oh, in order to join our Telegram group, you have to always introduce yourself and say your full name or something. So we can't
mhm.
have anonymous members in the Telegram group. So whatever it is, there's always something coming up. Then we have a vote, and you have to be able to argument. So, or maybe I don't like that word so much, but you have to be
Yeah,
able to explain your
explain it.
position. So there is no such thing as saying no without being able to explain. And this is something I really value about sociocracy is it's teaching people communication and listening and truly being able to think properly because then you avoid this kind of warmongers who are just there to criticize and say no to everything. It's like you have to actually be so reasonable that when you say no, it's such a reasonable no that everyone's going to welcome it on board. That's the idea. It's like it's seen as a gift, it's seen as contribution, it's seen as something very valuable. Like, okay, this person's saying no. Okay, so they have a good reason for that. We must listen. Let's take on board what they're saying.
Yeah, that might be something that's very important for moving on.
Exactly.
A person might see something that nobody else is seeing, and yeah,
And it
so
could be that they have
better to listen.
experience, or they that is their field of expertise and the others have
Yeah.
not been in that situation before or whatever it is. It's so important that there's the opportunity to then reevaluate. That's what we do. If someone says no, like there's no way we will go forward with this because this is the reason, then we figure out, okay, what could be a compromise? Or to the no sayer, can you suggest how we move forward with this? Do you have another idea? And so we always do this. And the same is also when we have our whole tribe meeting. So twice a year we have our whole association's meeting. And that's where we choose who are the next regional representatives. That's where we choose like the budget of how we're going to allocate our like joint funds together for the next year. And there we have also other issues that we vote about. And there also, if it's a question of okay, do we allocate our funds for this particular cause? If someone says no, we can't do it. So even when it's 900 people present, we are taking in the sociocratic principle of like near unanimous voting in such a situation. And then we try to find a way to find either we postpone it or we find another kind of a compromise for it.
Mm,
But when we can't use it is when we have to, let's say we vote for the regional representative, because there you have to count
mm.
the votes. So that's where there is no way to do it by unanimous choice because everyone has to choose who they're voting for in terms of the candidates. And there you just collect the votes and you do it like the democratic way that the
Mm.
majority rules.
Yeah, regarding the consensus, that's when you're the one that says no and everybody wants to go ahead. Um, that's a great responsibility you carry. And I hear I hear already people saying that that can never work. We will get to that point. How you manage to uh, get over this threshold of minorities blocking the whole tribe from proceeding by the values that you live by.
Hmm.
So do you want to add anything to the sociocracy part of how you organize the tribe?
Yeah, maybe I just want to say that I think it's makes things move. The fact that we have these smaller circles. We also have different working groups. So the whole idea, our ethos is that we are self-organizing. So anyone can start up any kind of project. Let's say they want to start up some kind of like mobile sauna because we're mad about saunas in this country. So they want to make a sauna in a bus. And,
Yeah.
and they're looking for people to do it with. They can do that. They can just put it up on the website because we have this membership site and say, hey, I really want to start this project. Does anyone want to join? And then people join and they do it. So we have a lot of this kind of projects going on. One of them is also the wellness initiative, where we started finding all these kinds of like natural healing centers, different kind of cultural centers. And that was just again entrepreneurs coming together and co-founding a healing center and then exercising sociocratic principles inside that circle. So it's like there's all these multiple levels and different kinds of contexts where we are exercising sociocracy, and we don't all need to know what's happening in the other circles. So
Mm.
this is, I think, something that sometimes people they're confused about when they think about like communal decision making. They start thinking that everyone should be involved in everything, but like this is ludicrous, and it really wastes a lot of time.
It's not
It's
working.
lacking trust, you
Yeah,
know?
most people are not interested in it. Everyone has their field of interest and
Exactly.
expertise, and so naturally they'll gather around that topic, and they'll be knowledgeable about it and have a stake in it.
Yes.
And m most other people are like, well, I mean, do it like this, do it like that. It's fine by me.
Yes,
So it's
exactly.
not necessary to bother everyone with every single decision there is to make.
No, no, it's like decisions should be made by the people who it's concerning in that particular project or particular region.
Mm.
But there are some people who it's in their nature that they want to be involved in everything and they want to know about everything. And it's with sociocracy, it's not like that. It's like, okay, you have to kind of choose like what's your area of interest and what's your passion, and you stay there. Like there's no way every decision has to be voted on by 900 people. Like that's just madness.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work like that.
I guess these kind of people, which are more about control,
Hmm.
um, will be rather, there'll be rather few of them uh, in the settings you are offering because everything points into a different direction.
Hmm.
And so,
What I find is that this kind of personality who wants to know everything and wants to be a part of everything and wants to get a say in everything, normally their main thing is that they just want to talk about things. That this is
mm,
something I've noticed that there's certain people who they find it very important just to be able to be involved in the conversations. And then the best solution there is to give them a chat room where they can talk about it as much as they want while the other people actually move forward and do the concrete steps and are building it, you know? So it's great because like we have this website and I can actually show you a little bit from the inside what it looks like. So
but
this is where everyone's allowed to start up whatever conversations they want. There's chat rooms, there's different forums, and
mhm.
we also have like this is an example of one of the listings we have inside our membership website, and this is our um, entrepreneurs listing. So if you have your own company, you have a product, you're an entrepreneur, you have a tattoo studio, music studio, whatever, and you can list it there. And then people can search for whatever product or service they're looking for, or they can just go through the map and be like, oh, you know, what kind of services and products we have that are within the tribe. And it's been pretty amazing. Like I have to say, when we moved here a year ago, my husband and I moved to Finland. I'd been living abroad for 12 years, and then now we moved here, and it was so great when we needed an electrician and we needed carpenter. I could literally just put a message in our tribe forum and say, "Hey, is there anyone who's a carpenter or electrician here?" And within the same day, I had like five people contacting me. And I was like, okay, fantastic. And of course, it's so much more fun to deal with people that you know you can trust in terms of like the fundamental values.
Mm,
And of course, like it's more direct, the relationship. We can just have a different price as well. Even they're like, yeah, okay, you just pay me cash at 50 euros or something. And it's like the olden days, where neighbors would help each other. So that's something I really love. And then we also have a joint calendar there. So this is the events calendar, just a little view. Anyone can announce an event. So if you're doing some kind of project and you need helping hands to, let's say, tidy up your forest or start a vegetable garden or build a earth cellar or whatever project it is, you can put it up on the events calendar and just put there the details, your contacts, where it is, what's happening. And it's pretty cool because then you can look at the calendar, you can see all these different gatherings and like full moon fire circle, and there's a dance event there. Here they are doing a gardening thing, and you really get this feeling of this like extended family of
mm, mm.
possibilities and fun.
Yeah, yeah. Don't wait for the leader to show up and tell you what to do. I mean,
No,
that's really
exactly. It's
great.
like
You have
it's
an
totally
idea, you put it forward.
self-organized.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Mm,
here are the forums that we have, different kinds of topics. There's about building, there's about like self-sovereignty and like food sovereignty. There's about family and being a parent. There's like recipes for different kinds of remedies, wild foraged plants you can find in Finnish nature, like whatever. There's so many different kinds of forums where people can write. And here's just some listings of the projects we already have happening. So these are also all self-organized, where people just come together and they say, "Hey, let's start this kind of project." And so one of them is the Food Initiative, and this is just a screenshot from the website that they created, which is a Finnish website where they've listed all Finnish farms that are willing to sell directly to a consumer. And they've gone through region by region. There's over 300 farms that are
wow.
listed there, and all their contact details. The pink is insinuating that it is an organic farm, that they don't use any pesticides, and the address and the email and the website. So you can just, if you want to, now in Finland, you can buy all your food from local farmers. You don't need to go to
Mm,
the supermarket. This is
wow.
something that our guys put together.
You really got some kind of infrastructure there.
Yeah. Here's some
I mean,
pictures from our.
the great thing about seeing this is, this is an example how we can move forward without waiting for things to fall into place and people deciding for a better future. This is just, something good being offered, and you can just go look and pick something and have friends with you. I mean,
Yeah,
you're not even alone when you're trying to make a survival somehow.
yeah, exactly.
So,
You can all prep together.
yeah.
That's another project we have where we have like safe houses that are listed on the map, where in different regions of Finland we have availability to house people. We have blankets, we have food storages, we have
Mm.
generators. So if there is a crisis, then we know like, okay, here we can house 50 people, here 40 people, and then we have these full moon circles. That's something we're also wanting to revive, is that we come together with the actual natural cycle of the earth. That we
Mm.
have these times, the solstices, the equinoxes, the full moons, the new moons, and we do like story circles and we share music. And so here are some of those pictures from these circles that are happening all across the country every full moon.
Yeah, really great. Wow. I could continue for hours. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Mm. S- Um, Yeah, we have to move on. I'm sorry. Um, uh, yeah, right. I have a few more questions, but let's really move to the values because when I asked for uh, well, perhaps a similar group um, in Austria, I needed somebody to help me with the dubbing of this interview. And as you said in a previous example, I immediately had five people saying, "Hey, I would like to do it." And they said, I love these values. It's really a great thing. I want to hear more about that." So yes, so let's go there. You're using sociocracy as an organizational model to run the tribe, and underneath there are the values which you are standing upon. I always call things like these a foundation. When you have a foundation in truth, for instance, you have the strongest foundation that there is.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you don't have a foundation, your community is not going to thrive. It's going to go wherever, and people will just do as they what they want to. But when you have proper values, then you have something that you share, something that you all can focus on, something that you agree upon, and this is where it starts with, right? When somebody wants to enter or become a member of the tribe, then they have to agree to something.
Yes, exactly.
Even
So,
before they join, there is this agreement to be
yes, there's
considered and made.
exactly. It's the terms and conditions. And oftentimes, whenever you sign up for any kind of any kind of site or service, you have to go through the long list of like legal jargon. And at the end, you put a little tick where it says, I agree to the terms and conditions. So we don't have anything like that. Ours is more from a spiritual base, and they are the foundational values. And before you sign up and you become a member of the PMA, then you have to agree to this kind of culture. I would say that this is a culture of relating, culture of communication,
Mm.
culture of being. And so, yeah, we have 9 values. And this is something I wrote up for the tribe. This was my work in the beginning before we launched our PMA for everyone to join. We sat together with the founding members, and this was my work was to set the values. And this is based on by then it was over 15 years of activism and being a part of different kinds of groups and trying to prevent the things that I always see what are the challenges of where people go wrong. So this is how I set the values is that we would somehow have a preemptive screening of people's level of maturity. Because I truly believe that if you can sign up for these values, then it means that you've done quite a bit of work on yourself.
Mhm.
You've come to realize that debating is not a good idea, arguing is not a good idea, that it's always a good idea to try and find common ground and compromises and come to, learn from each other. So this is what I had in mind basically when I started writing these values.
So this is not just thought out. It's not just nice words, mind you. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not just nice words, well sounding, very spiritual. Um, but this is coming from experience,
yes,
from a
yes,
long experience of uh, having interaction with other people, and sometimes it went wrong.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming from also from experience of having witnessed how different kinds of social justice movements and activist groups would get co-opted
Yeah.
and how they would get destroyed from the inside. So this was also my way of putting this like a firewall or some kind of, antivirus program in there where like, okay, but wait a minute, you've agreed to this. So yeah, you will see. So the first one is about reciprocity. And the way that we have this is like this, where there's the value, and then underneath is kind of the declaration of what you personally declare, how the reciprocity in this context is expressed. So should I read what it says
Yes,
here?
yes, do
Yeah,
please.
so it says,
Mm,
as a member of the tribe, I want to give as well as receive. I am ready to contribute and to participate in creating the common good according to my personal resources and life circumstances. I understand that alone I can go fast, but together we can go further. I take responsibility when I have the opportunity and ask for help when I need it.
yeah, so it's not a club or a public service that you join to get what you want.
Mhm.
Um, it's there's reciprocity. That means something has to come from both sides.
Yes.
As
Yeah.
you give, so you take, and the other way around.
Yes. And I found it important to stipulate also that it's okay that you come in with whatever resources of or life circumstances you
Mm,
have currently. Sometimes you can't participate a lot because you're in the busy years of having three toddlers running around in your home, and you're working, and you're maybe buying a new property or whatever. So like, we're not expecting you to give more than what you can, but
mm,
that there is this invitation that, remember, you have something to give. Everyone has something to give.
right,
Whatever it is that you have, we gladly receive it and we welcome it.
right.
And also that you don't have to exhaust yourself. You don't have to perform. You don't have to achieve. Ask for help if
Mm,
you need it. And take responsibility if you realize that, hey, here's a project where I actually have a lot of experience and it'll be easy for me to help. So you can sign up and say, hey, actually, you know what? I gladly do this because I've been doing this for 10 years and whatever, and I can just easily do this. So that our doors are open, and that we
mm.
hope that your doors are also open.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Next one is harmony, right?
Yes.
There you go, harmony.
So, harmony, the way we describe this is, as a member of the association, I understand that in voting and decision-making situations, the goal is always to find the best possible solution for myself and the tribe. And therefore, I constantly try to look at things from a broad perspective and with consideration for others. I understand that the purpose of the tribe is to serve not only myself, but also other tribal members, our extended human family, and all of creation. I bring to the tribe only issues and topics that inspire a love of nature, a love of life, nature, and humanity. And so there's quite a lot in there.
Absolutely.
And I tried to look at it also from a point of view of how can we prevent that our group doesn't become this like doomsday, links flooding in, and all of just people complaining about what the politicians are doing, or whatever is the next crisis, that a false flag event that's in the making. It's like, this is not what our tribe is for. You can do it on your own personal social media as much as you want, but when you come here, we are here to create something beautiful and harmonious. And so this is why we stipulated those things also, that the idea is that we are here to serve something much bigger than our personal interests. Like, we are here to create this cultural revival, and whatever decisions we make, it's not just for my immediate well-being or even for our association's well-being, but we are thinking in terms of nature and all living beings in it.
Yeah. So this value both focuses the energy that we bring in on the positive, on building something, rather than reacting to outside challenges, problems, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, the latest fad is in that respect. Um, while there is really yeah, a lot to consider in the outside world that is negative, but that's not the focus of the tribe.
Yes.
And On the other hand, not on the other hand, but another aspect that I read here is a concern of mine about institutions is that they always mostly about self-preservation. If you look at an institution, in the end, what they're doing is number one, self-preservation. They're not about the object of or the intent or the reason for their existence. They're
Mhm.
about only about preserving themselves by all means. And if that means to that you damage the goal of the institution, they will do that.
Mhm.
So, and you found a way of putting into words that this cannot be the last word on the tribe.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it has a greater reason to exist than just itself.
Mhm. Yes. And that
Mm,
it's not like that, that at whatever cost we will achieve our personal goals. It's that it has to, whatever we do has to be in harmony with the
right,
greater web of life and all relations. So,
right.
and I think this is where a lot of, institutions or organizations eventually go wrong, is that they start disregarding, the influence they have on, other people in the community or, the nature, so
Mm.
it's, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Number three,
Number three we have here is respect. By
respect.
the way, do you hear some kind of noise coming in from the background?
I don't, but I don't have earphones on, so um,
Okay, okay, because our neighbor like is doing some kind of renovation right now. I can hear like a drill, but
we'll be
if you can't hear
fine.
it, maybe the Zoom noise cancellation is working because they have some kind of program where they take
If
background noise.
anybody feels disturbed, just take off the headphones. It's great sound.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so respect. I know and recognize that each member of the tribe is equally valuable and important. I want to express myself in such a way that even if I disagree with someone, I will not weaponize my word against them. In disagreements, I will stay on topic and will not attack anyone's character.
Mhm.
That's quite self-explanatory, right?
Yeah, let's look at the word weaponize my word.
Mm.
Um, when I read that word for the first time, um, I I started to watch myself how I use words.
Mm.
And I noticed that actually some of my arguments or my points sound reasonable, but then there is a sharp tone to it sometimes. And um, so yeah, just tell us what you mean by weaponize.
Well, I mean, I would say it's very human to have different emotions and things rising up if you're feeling passionate about something or
Right.
you're feeling strong about something. I would say it's not necessarily about that, but it's about the choice to the way I always visualize it in my mind is that if there's a disagreement that we have two people standing next to each other that are looking at a topic together,
Mhm.
and this topic is the question. And they keep talking about this, but as soon as this is the disagreement, you forget the disagreement and you look at your friend and you start going against them and
Mhm.
using your word to attack them. That's basically just a way to say it. It's like you attack their character, you personally attack them, rather than recognize that this is my sister or brother and I
Mhm.
value them, I respect them. So I don't want to even like I don't want to jeopardize our relationship. So I have to watch my word and make sure that I keep that we are here together and we're talking about this other thing here, which is the topic.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm. Um, Also, not to make it a war. It's a conversation, not a war.
exactly. It's a dialogue.
Yeah.
And that it and I truly think they're so valuable when we have two people who have the courage to voice a differing opinion, a
Mm,
differing perspective. Because it's not always easy to disagree when it's someone you love or someone you respect. You're part of the same group. So it takes some courage to voice it out, but then it takes work to like, okay, how do I voice this out in a way where my opponent here doesn't feel that I'm attacking them, but
mm,
I'm saying
yeah,
like, hey, thank you for the way you see it. I hear you. However, have you considered it from this perspective?
right.
Like, what if we did it this way? I'm concerned that if we do it that way, then this will come out of it. And is there any way we could try to do it in a different way or like there's a way to bring in disagreement in a way where it just adds more knowledge and it adds more perspective to the topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes it perfectly clear now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and continuing from respect is peace, of
Hmm.
course, which I see is the fruit. The peace comes as a fruit of respect. And here it says, basically stipulating a similar thing, but in a little bit different words, that I agree to refrain from bringing the war axe in the association meetings, discussion forums, and gatherings, so as not to disrupt the atmosphere of peace and love within the tribe. In the event of a dispute, I agree to listen to any party with a differing view and to participate in good faith in peace negotiation in accordance with the rules of the association. I understand that the purpose of all our activities is to build, not to destroy.
Yeah, another time you emphasize that aspect,
Yeah.
um, that you're coming together to build something rather than to act against something else,
Yes.
which can be an infinite job or an impossible job to do. Like you're up against the system. I mean, how likely is it anyway that you are going to destroy it? So rather than wasting our energy on that, focus on building the parallel society
Yes.
where we have shelter in each other.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I find it so powerful when people read this. And the reason it's been written in this kind of form is because you are already, it's a declaration inside yourself. You're saying, as you're reading it, you're putting it onto your own subjective, your personal, individual responsibility. I agree.
right,
I agree. I understand. So you're already putting it into motion. And this I've done it on purpose so that it's straight away evoking your own like will and your own choice as you're reading this. It's like
right.
you're taking part. You're committing to this.
Yeah, it's a great way of putting philosophy into making it something personal rather than, something.
Yes,
Uh,
like a concept that's just out there that you
yeah, yeah,
interpret in
exactly.
whichever way. This is how I try to do it. It's like it's as word for word clear, like this is how we put this into practice. And it's worked. I have to say, like it's been amazing to see how well it works. Because sometimes if we have something starting in a group where someone's, a little bit losing themselves and starting to be a bit ratty and like complaining at someone like at their character, then very quickly normally someone comes up and said, "Hey, remember the value." And like remember our value base. And then
Mm,
it's like it just dissolves.
right.
It has this like where we all agree to this and it because of this we've achieved this amazing internal atmosphere where there is true like sense of safety amongst our group
Mm,
and people don't want to let that go so then it's beautiful to see how quickly people interfere and say hey like remember we're not in social media like Facebook or Instagram where anyone can just like write whatever stuff behind their avatar and attack and just purge all their crap on the screen. And it's like, no, 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 no. Like we don't do that. Like we have a different culture here. Like we're dignified, we're respectable. We don't do that. And it's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You get reminded, like,
yeah.
true. I don't want to be that way.
Don't bring rotten tomatoes to the meetings.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, I see point by point how good philosophy works. Um, Philosophy is not about thinking, just thinking. It's about putting something into action. Your understanding, yeah, making the rubber hit the road,
Yes,
and turn it into action that personally, not expect anybody else to act, but you yourself, you start to act based on your understandings. And
yes,
the way this is put is really, it hit me immediately when I first heard how you presented these values in another podcast. And I thought, yeah, let's just bring this to the foreground. How
that's
important
great.
it is both to have your values right, but on the other hand, how to put it into practice, not to forget practicing your values over the problem of the day where you get lost in some side on some side track.
Exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, wonderful.
And from peace, we move on to grace.
Oh, let me ask you a question before you even start.
Hmm.
In my first translation into German, um, I encountered the thing that grace translated into German means two very different things. One of them is not so much related to what you want to say, and the other is rather from the standpoint of a pardon, like a president pardons a prisoner. So the
Mm.
German word is rather from seen from above. I have the power to pardon you. And
Ah, okay, interesting.
um, so um, the headline I gave it was neighborly love.
Hmm.
Does that
Yeah.
match? Does that match from your
It
perspective?
would be more, yeah, like love that has the capacity to forgive, I would say.
Mhm.
It's like the forgiveness is a really big part. The other word
Yeah.
I could use there is mercy.
Forgiveness is a great word for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll use that. I will use that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
I understand that mercy is the highest expression of love. I recognize that I am an unfinished and fallible human being. Therefore, I am also willing to admit my mistakes and grow from them. If someone else chooses to do wrong, I recognize their humanity and seek to give them the opportunity to atone for their actions. I am willing to apologize and forgive.
Straightforward.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh. Yeah. No questions.
All
Any
right.
questions, dear viewers? Send me a mail, and maybe
Yeah.
we have another meeting to clear that up.
So the next one we have is trust. And the way I've also put these is I feel that they are kind of in order,
Mhm.
that when you have respect, then you can have peace. When you have peace, you have the safety where you're able to recognize your own fallibility and the fallibility of others, and then you can forgive. And then when you have that level of love between the tribe, then you can trust each
Mm.
other. So number six is trust. I understand that our tribe is built on a foundation of values, and therefore I commit to being honest in my intentions, words, and actions. I understand that trust must be earned, and therefore I will nurture and protect the internal and private affairs of the tribe, pending decisions and projects, and the private lives of tribe members. I understand that genuine trust creates safety in the community.
Mm. Yeah, the word sticking out for me is genuine, um, and honesty,
Hmm.
um, because you can pretend all you want, but in the end, it's about do you really feel like that? Because then you can translate that into action in any situation.
Hmm.
And so it's not about giving the image of being someone who you can trust, who's trustworthy,
Hmm.
but really being trustworthy. Um,
Yes. Exactly. And
yeah.
I think that's important, because a lot of times we put these words around like trust, But it's like, well, what do you do so that people can trust you? Like, it's an inside job. You
Yes, it
have to
is.
be trustworthy. You can't demand trust like our politicians do. They
Trust.
demand trust. You have to earn it. You know, this is the indigenous society. The leaders, they were selected to be their representative and the elders, you know, and their council of elders because they earned the trust of people but by their actions because they actually were dignified and moral. So then
Mm,
people would say, "Hey, I trust you with my life, you know? You trust you with the life of my children because this is about the survival of our community, of our culture, of our tribe for many generations to come." So it was back then, it was like life and death. But now there's this like strange lull where people think that their lives it doesn't really matter. Like you just give the trust to anyone's hands and they do whatever. It's like it's
mm.
crazy.
Yeah, it also means you have to learn how to trust. I guess that's been lost
Yeah.
to a great degree. Mm,
And that's been a big wound that we've been working on collectively in our association is the recognition that it's hard to trust after we've all been through, you know, and after so many leaders, you know, self-appointed ones who have no authority have
mm,
been abusing their place of authority and their place of, you know, stolen power. And so then sometimes there's suspicions. Oh, wait a minute. What if the board is doing something and what if like they're using the money somewhere or so sometimes we get these suspicions arising and we always bring them up and we normally then have some kind of a group call about that topic and we talk about it openly and then we always remind ourselves like, hey, we're all traumatized from the
mm,
current system. So it's no wonder that sometimes we have issues to trust. But hey, there's nothing not to trust because everything we do is transparent. Every single bank action is transparent for everyone to see. You know, like there is nothing that could possibly go wrong. And then when you share it all and you're open and transparent in everything you do, then it teaches people like, wow, it is actually possible to have a moral organization
mm.
where people who are in the place of responsibility, they are transparent and they show everything they do. And then it's healing that wounding of trust bit by bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So well thought through. Um, Responsibility.
I stand behind my words and actions with integrity. As a trustworthy and responsible adult, I accept the golden rules of the tribe, which include watertight consequences for anyone who repeatedly breaks the group spirit, betrays, hurts, or abuses others, acts dishonestly, or misuses the tribe's collective assets and resources.
I'm gonna sneak in and leech on them and have a great time at their expense.
Yes.
But wait, what do you mean watertight consequences?
Yeah, yeah, it's a warning. It's to say
So
that if you start, you know, messing around, where you're going to be kicked out.
that's possible. It's not all love and light and
No.
flowers, it's also consequences.
Yes. Yeah.
How far that does that get?
We have had a couple of cases where someone came in with ill will and tried to lay out a trap and destroy someone else's reputation.
Hmm,
There's a woman who accused another guy of like sexual misconduct.
hmm,
That wasn't the case. And she went basically and started taking screenshots of all these things where she's saying the claim, what happened publicly, and
hmm.
then went outside our membership platform and then started posting on Facebook,
Wow.
Instagram. It was a very clear like attempt to smear someone
Hmm,
without any evidence at all. And when we handed out our hand and said, do you want to have a private, you know, phone call about this? Do you want to get the police involved? Do you might want to make a crime annunciation? Do you want support from our internal affairs? You know, whatever resources, whatever support we handed out, she immediately rejected.
hmm.
And it was very clear that she was only out to destroy the reputation of this one man, one member of our tribe. And so then in that case, we said, okay, that you cannot continue this because it's actually against the law even that you're sharing like private messages publicly
Yeah.
and doing all this. So we had to say, okay, we have to terminate your membership. And we removed
Mm,
her profile. And we said, you're welcome back at any moment that you're willing to go through a peace negotiation. Uh,
mm,
it doesn't have to be with the guy that she was upset with. It can be privately with one of the members of our internal affairs. But there has to be an attempt to find some kind of solution. There has to be an attempt to, like reconcile what
mm,
happened.
mm, mm,
That we don't accept that conflicts stay in a conflict state. This is not natural. It's draining everyone's resources. It's creating the energy of hostility and aggression and all this like drama.
mm.
It's not what we're here for.
Right.
And
Doesn't
so
it?
if it's someone like that and sometimes you have someone who's mentally unstable and or even is suffering from a schizophrenia or something like this, sometimes you get people like this who are seeking for community and help. They come
Mm,
in and it's like a madness that starts to come out. And if there is no attempt to collaborate and establish a solution, then they have to be kicked out.
yeah. So there is an element of self-preservation. It's what I said doesn't mean you can't attempt to self-preserve. It's just not what
Yeah.
it's the highest thing in what it's not what the gathering is about. The gathering
No.
is about something else. It's about being together. And if that is threatened, of course, we can um, also sometimes be, well, less than, uh, how should I say? Well, there can be consequence. Let's just say it
Yes.
like that.
And
And
it's
that is
something
what
that
is
everyone
necessary.
agrees to upfront, you
Yeah,
know? So if you, upon joining, agree to this,
right,
then like, you don't have to join, you don't have to be a part of this.
right.
If you want to be a part of this, then if you are constantly breaking, our values and deliberately harming someone
What
or
are you
being
even doing
dishonest,
then? Yes.
then sorry, but it's not acceptable. Like,
Mm, yeah.
and this has to be there because I see a lot of people who are they have something going on inside. They are seeking for a lot of attention by destroying something. Sometimes we have a rare individual like this amongst us in human family where someone is so traumatized or hurt that they are a bully. And I see this sometimes in these like freedom communities where then they claim, but I have freedom of speech.
Mm,
And it's like, no, no, freedom of speech doesn't mean you can be a bully. Freedom of speech doesn't mean you can share private messages publicly. This is not freedom of speech.
yeah.
Freedom always comes with responsibility. You have to know how to conduct yourself in a fair and just manner. And so this is where we break it up. If someone tries to say, "Oh, but I have freedom of responsibility, therefore I can attack, I can curse, I can, hurt people," it's like, no, that's not freedom.
Right.
So
Um,
we're very clear on
at
that.
least that's not your right. You could say it's their freedom to do whatever they want, but it comes with consequences, and it's
Yeah,
certainly not their right to attack anybody and do harm to them. And that's we have that as a next value. The eighth value is about freedom.
I understand that everyone has the freedom to live their personal lives in the ways they choose, as long as they do not infringe on anyone else's property, health, rights, or life. I understand that freedom is a great gift, and therefore I grant others the freedom of speech, freedom of opinion, freedom of religion, and political freedom. I understand that freedom comes from the eternal law written into creation, and therefore, with freedom always comes responsibility and consequences. I recognize that true freedom expresses itself through love, because freedom that destroys is not freedom, but slavery.
Wow, so powerful.
And this is the whole idea, which is why, for me, I maybe see it a little bit differently than a lot of other people in the natural law group, is that I don't think something is a freedom if it causes negative karma, if it incurs negative karma because that is bondage. That's
Mm,
spiritually slavery.
yeah.
So for me, like the true, pure form of freedom must be something that doesn't create negative consequences.
Mm. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Mm.
Freedom is a is a difficult word. It can mean a lot of things. And anyway, you made it very clear here what it is about, and that you cannot use your freedom, however you define that,
Mhm.
um, to hurt others. At
Yes.
least not as long as you want to be part of the tribe. And it's a great way of expressing natural law, rights, and morality, and putting it into practice. And that's why I really, really wanted to talk to you and present these values, because that's how we can make a relationship work, even if it's just between two people who
Mhm.
have a, a base that we can agree upon, adds strength to the relationship and removes a lot of the typical problems that appear when you start to disagree on anything.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you just agree on what is really, really important here.
Yes. And this is why we also put here that I grant others the freedom of speech, freedom of opinion, freedom of religion, and political freedom is because we're wanting to establish a parallel society. And if we said that we can have, all these different kinds of spiritual traditions or religions or people who vote, in parliament elections or their like uh, local politician, elections, then we couldn't create, we wouldn't have enough people, like we would be just like a group of five natural law advocates. You can't create a parallel society with that. So we need to have the values that are like fundamental that we all agree on. And these other like affiliations that people have, it's okay. Like we can still collaborate. And I
Mm,
think a lot of people have this experience in their workplace. They collaborate on the same cause. They all are there to achieve this task, whatever their work is, and they don't stop to harass their colleague at the next till or desk about who are they voting for. Like it's actually irrelevant in the end. You establish the same goals, you still work together, you can even be friends. And this is what we're about. Like, so if we want to create a parallel society, we have to just let people have their private lives and their private thoughts. It doesn't matter if you're a flat earther or a globe earther, or you believe that Earth is concave or it's hollow Earth, or if it's holographic Earth. Like, it doesn't make a difference. We can still, respect each other and
mm,
collaborate.
right.
That's basically, like what we're wanting to do here.
Um, I guess most people have never heard of natural law, at least not in the sense that we understand it. Um, does that cause misunderstandings, or is the way this is expressed here in these values, is that already enough to make it work?
I would say it's enough to make it work. And a lot of people they don't know about natural law who are part of our tribe, but they understand these values and they understand what we're talking about when we talk about creation or law that's written in the creation. So they're like, oh, okay, oh, so this is natural law, what we're doing here. Like these values are that. And yes, exactly.
And I already practice it. Yay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then our last value, we put this clause because it's again, love is for me, I feel like all of those previous values put together, that's love. Like that's that it has so much depth and profound, different aspects to it. It's not this pink Valentine's love, that like the American commercial idea of love. It has nothing to do with it. Love is like something far more profound.
Mm.
The best way that we found to express it is by the great master Christ, Yeshua, and his quote, if I had everything but lacked love, I would have nothing.
So true. Wow. feels like coming home.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We don't have, well, you do have a lot of people around you now that, or you did for a long time, um, to whom you can talk and share these things. For many of us, that it's not like that, and I'm one of those. So this is really something that can give us hope that a different way of life, a different way of living is possible, and that there are actually people out there who share these views that we have, whether we're coming from an, the study of natural law or just an intuitive understanding of it, where we just know, well, that's right, not right. That this way looks much, much more natural and rightful,
Mm.
just. And I find a lot of justice in these words. So great.
Thank you, Jürgen.
Yeah,
It feels so good to talk about this with someone who recognizes it and resonates with it. And
mm, absolutely.
yeah, we have this idea that at some point we're going to do more like an international gathering where we will organize some kind of event and then invite different, like sibling tribe
Mm.
members from different countries. So maybe one day you can come and get to know our our tribe and come and
Yeah.
visit us here in Finland.
And have a photo shooting in the woods. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
um, yeah, one last question. I have a few more, but I just let you go there. Um, um, Yeah, it was about the international connections. You just said you would invite people. Does it make sense for people who say, wow, this is so profound, I want to be part of it, but well, they don't speak Finnish, they're living in France or Italy or Germany or Austria, wherever. And does it make sense to join a Finnish tribe, or how would you react to a request?
I would
I love you
say,
so much, I would like to join.
yeah, I would say start your own. Start your
Start
own.
your own, yeah, right.
Yeah. Because I think there's something to be said about the cultural element. I
Mm,
think each land has a very unique way that the people relate with each other and these unspoken nuances that can't really be transmitted unless you belong to that culture. And so I think that's a strength if we can have this kind of tribes, that are born in each region, in each culture, where that is like self-organized. And
mm.
of course we would be happy to mentor and help and share whatever we've done that has worked for us, what hasn't worked for us. But I think it's in the end it's created by the people that make it.
Mm,
So for it to work in Germany or Austria or Italy, it should be people that have that spark from that land and the calling and understanding of what it really means to be German, like the original, like from this land, from this richness of this culture, the heritage of my ancestors. What is that pure element of what it means to be German, and then somehow use that as the catalyst to start something. I
mm.
think if it has a cultural element, it makes it very strong.
So people who want to learn more about Kotimpa, is there other English or other language sources, or do they have to translate the Finnish site? We will, anyway, we give the address of the Finnish site there.
Yeah.
We might also add your address for regarding your activity as Henna Maria.
Yes, sure.
Um, but is there
No, there isn't yet. And this,
okay,
I get a lot of this, and I know it's an invitation. It's like the universe is knocking on my door, like, Henna,
got something to
maybe you should
do?
translate. Like, and it is my plan this year. At some point, I will definitely do it. I'll create like a English version of like the introduction of who we are, what we do, so that when you come on our website, you can press the little English button, and then you'll get like the introduction and our values and everything. And I am also interested in doing some kind of webinar or like an interactive
Mm,
international gathering where people can share about their communities, where we can like learn from each other, share ideas, challenges, problems, things like this. So this is something I will be doing definitely because I love talking about this topic. And I also love the feeling of, that this is possible because we're doing it.
mm,
But the dream that imagine if these kind of tribes start to come all different parts of the earth and the original cultures start to be resurrected. This would be wow, would be amazing to get to witness and be a part of.
really, yes. So, wow, what a tour. Um, then I let you go. I guess you have a lot more to do than sit here with me and talk. As much as it's appreciated, and I could use your time for much longer, as I said. Thank you so much. Uh, that was really great, and I hope our viewers will appreciate it as well. I bet they will. And yeah, hope to see you soon, anytime.
Thank you, Jürgen. Really great to
Yeah.
be a part of it. Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye.
Dig it, man.